Okay, I've got a little tutorial here to give you started on a Starry Night software we're going to be using all this semester, and also help you get started with our first activity. So when you first open up Starry Night, I'm doing this at night, so right now it's at 5:40 p.m. and here in Lawrence. So when you first open up this program, it will probably open up in Chicago. That's just the default setting. If you want to change the home settings, you go over to, let me get this under Starry Night here, under Starry Night, click Set Home Location. And this brings us up here. And it's probably best to just go to zip postal code and put in 66049 and set as home location. That way, whenever you open up and when you click on home, it'll go to what the sky looks like from Lawrence, Kansas. Not that it's going to be that much different from Chicago, but from Lawrence is probably the best way to do here. A couple things, we'll be doing most of our activities during the day. And during the day, you'll be able to see the stars in the sky. One of the nice things about this program is you can turn off the daylight. So under view you can go under here to hide daylight. So if there is any daylight, it just turns it off. And so you can kind of see what stars are out even though it's daylight. So that's kind of a helpful thing to use if you're looking at particular stars or things in the sky that you want to be able to see during the day, but you really can't see. Notice the horizon down here, you can also hide it also. If you want to see if anything's down below the horizon, go down and hide horizon. And it's gone. But I like having it back just for little references. It also shows general directions here. Notice it shows we're facing south, southeast, southwest. You want to view somewhere else, you can just click on, type in N, and it will rotate around and you will view north. Eventually. And so you can do that with any of the directions you want to go. I'm going to just go back to south here because I like looking south. So some basic things here. I'm going to go back to my regular screen here. It's evening, so I can turn my daylight back on here. There's not much left here. So a couple things here. Notice when you move your cursor over any particular object in the sky, like this particular star right here, gives you its name. It's from Mahout, whatever that's pronounced. It tells you it's when it rises, its transit time. In other words, its transit is essentially when it's highest in the sky. When it sets, azimuth and altitude, that's its location in the sky. That's going to be what our first activity is about. And it shows distance from observer, distance from the sun, which is about 25 light years because we're about the same distance from the sun as the star is. To change those settings, that's one of the first things you'll be doing in this activity. You can go up here under Starry Night Pro and click Preferences. This little screen comes up here and you go over to HUD. And that's basically this little box right here. All these settings here, these are things that can pop up, giving you information about items you put your mouse over. Notice I've only got those few things selected here, but there's lots of things to select here. The first activity will kind of tell you what you need to select to turn on. I basically got them already set here. So you just click them and then, turn this off, and that's why only a few of those things show up when I, put my cursor over a particular item in the sky. So I see this Altair, here's another star over here, Deneb Kaitos, shows you different settings about them. So that's the basics of kind of moving around in this and kind of setting it up here. By the way, this window over here we don't really need. You can kind of just click on this over here and it's gone. The bigger the screen you have, the better it is to work with here. So in this particular activity, what we're going to be doing here, this first activity, we're going to be setting your date here. You can change the date to whatever date you want here. It says change the date to your birthday. So go up here to the date here. You click on November and just arrow to whatever your date is. My birthday is August. I'm going to set to August here. And 22, so 22. Notice this time of day, 5:45 p.m. in August, it's still daylight out. So that's what it would look like here. And so you're doing that here. And the idea here is what you're doing this activity, you're going to want to watch, to keep track of where the sun rises and sets and its azimuth and altitude in the sky and keep a data table of this. I'll show you a picture of the data table when we get to class. But I've also got a copy you can download. So what we're going to do is figure out first where the sun is here. Notice it's 5:45, it's near sunset. We're looking south. The sun is probably off to the west somewhere. There it is. So, and I'm also going to turn the daylight off here just because I'm going to be watching the sun during the day. So I'm going to turn off the daylight, hide the daylight. And notice here, I want to find out when sunrise is. I could go look that up, but if I put my cursor over the sun, it says rises at about 5:41. So I'm going to set my time. I'm going to pause this. Notice this thing is in real time. This is what's going on. Notice this time is moving right now. 16, 17, those are seconds there. So I'm going to pause the time here. I'm going to set this back to 5:41 a.m. And so notice the sun is gone because it is just rising. So I'm going to turn this back around to the east. Back to the east, back to the east. And what I want to do is, so there it is. My first data point that I'm going to record here is at sunrise. So I want to find its altitude and its azimuth. The first data point is at sunrise. So I put my cursor over the sun. Its altitude should be 0. Altitude is how high it is above the horizon. At sunrise, it's on the horizon. So that's 0. Its azimuth, about 74 degrees. You can just keep this in degrees. At 74 degrees, 14.174 minutes. I'm mostly just concerned with, the 74 degrees. So that would be our first set here. So that's each subsequent data point after this is an hour after this. So it's 5:41. So the next data point, we just go up here to the 5:41 here and change it to 6:41. And we take a data point again. And notice here, altitude is 10 degrees, azimuth 83 degrees. What we could also do here is, notice here the time up here, I could change this to hours. And so every step, I click the step button over here, it'll advance 1 hour. So if I click that step, notice over here, 7:41. Click it again, 8:41. And 9:41. This is during the day, this is in the morning here. So at each one of those, I'm going to record the altitude and azimuth. What you're probably going to do, notice after a few times here, this thing's going to disappear off your screen, but you can move your screen around, just click and drag and, or move to the southeast or whatever, and just keep going here. And just keep going, and keep an eye on it, keep taking data points every hour. Notice it's 1:41 in the afternoon, even though it's, I've got the daylight turned off here. Keep going, starting to come down there. Here's west over here. So keep going, and keep in mind, depending on the time of year you've got, it depends how many data points you're going to have. Some days are shorter than others. Keep going. So another data point here. And let's see, is it still above the horizon? So here's our next to last data point here. So here's, take this data point. Notice sun sets at 7:06. So, we do this one more time here. It's below the horizon. So back it up and then set it for 7:06. So 7:06 and not Regulus, sun. Now sometimes, Regulus is like behind the sun. So got to be real careful here. Make sure it says the sun. There we go. And again, altitude should be 0, but its azimuth, 285 degrees. So that's where you can click the data. That's collecting your data here. Doesn't take very long. And you should have time. Then you're going to select some other date, like maybe 3 months after your birthday. So if I want to do this, I would set this maybe either 3 months after or 3 months before. So that's 8. So, set it, November 22nd, and do it all over again. So you're going to collect data twice. We want to get as many data points throughout the year as we can. That's why everybody's picking their birthday and about 3 months after their birthday. That way we should get a wide range of data for this activity. So that's essentially what this activity is about. It's also kind of a get-to-know-you activity with the Starry Night software. If you have questions, please ask.